Oh,
Ready.
now there we go.
We're
We're
ready.
we're
Yes. There we
alive.
go.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us. I'm
Mm.
Kirian Suarez, President and CEO of Equity in the Center, and it is my pleasure to welcome Sojourner Zenobia back to today's LinkedIn Live. So I'm going to toss it over to Sojourner so we can hear a bit about how today's session will be framed.
Thank you, Carrie. And my name is Sojourner Zenobia. My pronouns are they, them. And I am excited to lead this experiential practice space, essentially. So, this, I imagine, just like the last time, will be a space where if you are with a group of people, your team at work, just it could be at work, it could be just a group of people that you want to have a healing justice experience with. Today, we are going to be exploring rhythms in relationship to grind culture. So, the difference between us being inside of grind culture and then having as human beings actually our real the depth of our humanity existing in a more rhythmic nature. So we'll be playing around with that, and we'll be doing um, different exercises that will take us deeper into that exploration. And I imagine if you're listening to the recording, you can pause, you can take as long as you like at certain sections where we're doing exercises that are kind of like group exercises. It's a skill share as well. So this session is about exploring different rhythms in your day. If you're working, you might want to pause and like sense into what your body needs in the moment, dropping into where your rhythm is at in the moment. So again, you can pause and do the exercises and take as long as you want, right? Because it's about rhythm. If you need a little bit more time, then I want you to take that. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about rhythm, and I've been thinking about this a lot because I facilitate a session called Winter Cave, and Winter Cave is a human hibernation. So it's all about aligning with the seasons, nature's rhythms. And in the wintertime, when it's really, really cold and there's 7 inches of snow and it's like below zero and it takes so much time to get out of the house, and yet we still have to do all these things inside of the culture of grinding and going and working, but the earth is like, you need to slow down. Like you can't even you can't even go outside without 10 layers. So I just came out of Winter Cave because the the equinox was on March 21st. And so it's really been on my mind, the difference between grind culture in this capitalist world and that nonstop, very rigid experience that we're all in, where the goal is production. It it feels to me like robot behavior, and I've been like naming it that, like it's robot behavior, folks, to just like go and never stop. And yeah, and what really is happening in our bodies is that we have actually all these things coming up, emotions, relationships, and it's a more rhythmic experience to be human. So that's kind of the theme, and like me and Carrie are gonna chat a little bit. What do you think about that?
Cool. All right. Well, when you shared the framing for today, I shared that what came up for me, and I know we're going to talk about like what comes up for each of us when you say grind culture. And I love that you said it's robotic. It definitely is. And what initially came up for me as folks in this space, or we two in this space, identifying as like Black women and femmes, is how we historically, traditionally
Yeah.
show up Um, I wouldn't even say necessarily in grind culture, because how we show up in community predates the term, but how we are
Mhm.
the person who's always doing everything. There's that T-shirt that says, um, it's
Mhm.
like a Black woman is like, "I'll do it." And like I feel like we've historically been put in that position
Yeah.
in communities and society, and we assume that role in workplaces.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
many women and femmes with whom I've been having conversations lately are intentionally stepping back from that.
Yeah.
We've always known that it's not healthy for us. There are sort of health and mental health, physical and mental health implications for
Yeah.
being the person who does everything, saves everyone. And in the current administration, the current landscape, people are, Black women and femmes, I see more actively choosing
Mm.
themselves
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
over grind culture,
Yes.
and not wanting to sacrifice themselves for everything. And I think that applies to folks who don't identify as Black women and femmes.
Mm.
Women traditionally in
Mhm.
most cultures play the role
Mhm.
of like culture keepers and caretakers. So just wanted to name that because that's what came up for me, and it's a conversation that's been pretty much a drumbeat for the past year, but I think has become more intense among friends and colleagues as we are getting deeper into this season in the US at least.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like, um, if no one else is gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do it if no one else is gonna do it, save the world. And, just, like, coming from a place of desperation, coming from a place of being fed up, coming from a place of, you're like, "Let's go, like, come on, we have things to do." And it's such an external, outward, um, energy of, like, all of your energy is going outward. And, like, in this reorientation where we're talking about rhythmic, we're talking about saving ourselves as Black women and femmes. We can save the world, we know that. We know we can save, we know we can, organize, and we know we can do that. And so then what is the layer, what is the practice of saving ourselves? Because in that external, like that energy that goes outward, 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 it's also very disembodied. It brings us to it can bring us to a disembodied place because it is within grind culture if we're not conscious of it. The way in which we're approaching our organizing, approaching our, it's in the context of, production. It's in
Capital.
competition. Yeah, it's in competition with like the energy of the systemic energies. And a lot of the times we're in that flow and we just don't get a break. It's even in the song, "We who believe in freedom shall not rest." We shall not rest under any circumstances. And I think that, like, yes, more and more people are choosing, like, we have to reframe that. We have to find rest. We have to find the rhythms between rest and work and rest and organizing. And so, um, let's move into what that might look like, various different little practices. And one thing that I want to do is just like acknowledge that we have impulses throughout the entire day. We have so many different impulses throughout the entire day. And as we show up to our workspaces, a lot of the times we have to cut those impulses off or not listen to them. But below everything, there's always a feeling of like, ooh, I feel aggravated that I had to write that email, or that I'm like, I feel emotional that I just had that conversation. But we just have to kind of like glaze over it
Wow.
and just keep going. But having a rhythm is acknowledging that, like, there's an impulse and I'm gonna take time to give it that space. Because that's my humanity. And that can happen throughout the whole day. So, what I want to do right now is just give us a moment to explore different gentle shapes. Oftentimes, we move in this grind culture through like sitting, standing, walking, and then we sit and we do our work, and then we stand and we walk, and then we, make dinner, and then we go to bed. And in my most radical imagination, I imagine that like our moments of joy and our moments of fear and our moments of anger are like interwoven in and out our days, and that like those rhythms can show up in our bodies in different ways. um, so I want us to just take a moment and come into our body and just feel if there's any kinds of shapes, different kinds of shapes than like the shape of just sitting in the chair. And you might want to stand up. So we're just going to give our bodies a little bit of a moment to take some different shapes that are in alignment with what's going on inside. Because it's also just about acknowledging, like I feel cold, I'm going to get another blanket on, acknowledging what's happening. So I'm going to stand up, and just for a little moment, you can roll your shoulders. If you have a little bit of nervous energy, you might want to shake your body, shake out. You might want to just be still. And I'm just going to like move in my hips a little bit because I feel a little tightness there. So this would be something that's like really nice to do like after you finished a task, let's say. And you're like, let me just check in and be like, what is my body? What's the rhythm of my energy right now? Oh. And then coming back and just feeling how that was to just place a little spotlight on what is actually happening inside. And I also invite you as we're doing this to kind of linger. So we're going to go into another invitation. And if you're like, I just want to like keep moving my shoulders because I'm not done with that yet, then that's your rhythm, right? I'm inviting us to move forward. But if you're like, I'm still in this really nice, juicy movement spot, then maybe, continue stretching, but you're on the floor and you're listening. So again, we're imagining how our body takes different shapes. We're inviting our body into a radical imagination where like different shapes that align with what's actually going on in our bodies are allowed. So the next kind of invitation into rhythm that we're going to take is about your essence rhythm. So just with the ideas and the concepts of grind culture, what are some things that kind of come up, some words that kind of come up when we think about grind culture? And we can do this together, Carrie-Ann. Like tight.
Tired.
What was it that you said?
Tired.
Tired, yeah. Exhausted. I hear that word so much.
Yeah, stressed, depleted.
Depleted, yeah. It's very linear, nonstop.
Yeah, like a hamster wheel.
Like a hamster wheel. Yeah. So we have stress, we have exhausted, we have tired, nonstop, we have a hamster wheel. So just let those words kind of exist in your body for a second, just in this moment. And notice what starts to happen. I'm like, my face is kind of scrunching up, my body is getting a little tight. And now I want us to feel into perhaps our own rhythms outside of grind culture. And what would that feel like? What would that look like? How would you show up in a moment? How would you move through the world in your own rhythm that wasn't the rhythm of grind culture? So just take a moment, a few breaths here, and just feel. And it might kind of in when I start to do these imaginations, my body starts to move a little bit because I'm like, yeah, I would like feel a little bit more open. So just take a second and imagine what if you could move through the world in your own rhythm? Like how would you move through your day in your own rhythms?
Be more spacious,
Spacious.
more free.
Yeah. Mhm. So we're gonna do a little game and just kind of like play a little bit more with what my own rhythm feels like and looks like. And it's called I Can Talk About. So when you think about your own rhythms and how you might show up in your own rhythms, you're gonna start a sentence with I can talk about, and then you're just gonna complete the sentence. So you're not gonna tell a full story. You're just gonna do like one idea of what you could talk about, and we'll go back and forth. So it kind of looks like this. It looks like this. I can talk about having more time to connect with my mother. And then you would go, I can talk about a sentence.
Sleeping well.
Sleeping, right.
Mhm.
So let's just keep going. Yeah, there you go. So let's just keep going back and forth, for a little
Mhm.
bit. So you just said I could talk about sleeping. I could talk about, when I think about my own rhythms, I can talk about just being I love slowness, actually.
I was going to say I could talk about doing less, so slowness resonates for me.
Yeah. I could talk about wiggling.
I could talk about dancing.
Ooh. I could talk about I could talk about cooking, walking, singing.
Mm. I could talk about long walks.
Mm, okay. So now let's take one of those things,
Hmm.
and you're gonna just talk a little bit more about it and we'll keep it condensed into maybe like 3 sentences or like a short telling.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll go first just to give you an example. I'm gonna choose spending more time with my mother. So I'm just gonna do a short telling or about 3 sentences telling you more about that. So I think if I was really in my own rhythm right now, instead of working and trying to like grow my business so that I could take care of my mother, I would just take care of my mother. And I would be there with her and be packing her stuff and be cooking for her. And I probably wouldn't worry so much about building my business.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, I'll do I'll do long walks. So
Mm.
I can talk about how I used to take long walks of up to an hour every day. Uh, with my daughter before she started school, and then on my own after she started school. And that's something I stopped doing.
Mm,
But it was a great way to spend time with her every day. And it was also a great way to exercise and take care of myself and clear my head and sort of do a mindfulness practice in a way
mhm, mhm,
while I was out walking around the neighborhood. And if there were more space in my day and if I were less tired, I might get out there and continue to do it by
mm,
myself or with her when she's back from school.
mm. Beautiful. So I want us to think about a pleasurable and measurable step that both of us could take to align more with our own natural rhythms. And that could be something that you just talked about, or it could be any other part of your natural rhythm that you're like, "Oh, this feels more accessible to me." So
Mhm.
when I say pleasurable and measurable, it's not like, "I'm going to, for the rest of this month, take a walk every single day." Like, that feels a little like
It's a lot.
a lot, you
Probably not
know?
gonna happen.
Yeah, so whatever it is that we come up with, let it
Mhm.
be really accessible to do by the end of the day, and, let it feel luscious and good and pleasurable, and let it be measurable so that, it could be, like, by the end of the day or whenever I, you know, go to sleep,
Mhm.
or the next time I'm going to sleep, it's you're attaching it to something in your life. So I'm just gonna come up with, um, something around my mother, and a pleasurable and measurable thing to align with the rhythm of care, I would say, would be to take a breath and just hold my mother and how much I love her in my heart when the next time I call her. So the next time I call her, I'm gonna take like an extra step to just take a breath and like feel love for her instead of just answering the phone. I'm gonna feel love for her, take a breath, and then I'm gonna answer the phone. So that's my pleasurable and measurable step to align with the rhythm of care.
Thank you. All
Mhm.
right. I think, well, no, I will, before I go to bed every day, walk for 10 minutes. And it doesn't mean that I have to leave the house. So that's accessible to me because I can use a treadmill. And as part of that, I will also say yes if my daughter asks to go for a walk, which she sometimes does. And
Beautiful.
it generally does not work out.
Cool. I have a question. Does every day feel pleasurable to you? To
Yes.
commit to every day? Okay.
Because I need to do something, I need to move or stretch or do something
Beautiful.
every day.
Yeah.
So that I at least have as part of my schedule or routine. And
Yeah.
so I feel like I could swap this in.
Oh, great. Great. Cool. So, I mean, that's also, something to point out as far as, like, the difference between someone's rhythm, my rhythm, and your rhythm. So for me to commit to something every day would feel a little bit tense, but if you already have something, you're in that flow, and you're like, "This feels pleasurable. It's already happening. It feels easeful." So just acknowledging, the different energies and what that we have different relationships to time and rhythm. So, yeah, how just checking in, how was that before we do our kind of like integration meditation?
Thanks. No, that was great. It made me think more intentionally about something I think I've been working on for a while. Like I took a sabbatical.
Mm,
Fortunately, I'm grateful to Equity in the Center for holding that space for me. So I was able to practice a lot of these things over 3 months, and it did change my routine when I came back to work. So I think I'm better at doing what you've asked in the practice than I used
mm,
to be. And we also have a member of our board, Jared Coffee, who she's my accountability partner on really doing less.
Got it.
So whenever we talk about something, it's like, yeah, so how can you do less? And I think I've been able to integrate that into how I approach my day, because you
Mm,
don't have to constantly be grinding. It's a choice. And I want to acknowledge, like we talked about before, that capitalism is the broader context, and a lot of us don't have the privilege to pause
mhm.
or the control over our schedule. So it's important to name that.
Yeah.
And even when I have less control, I have made choices to do more. And so I've gotten better at
Mhm.
choosing to do less.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, exactly. And yes, a lot of us do not have the privilege to pause and take those long, sabbaticals and that kind of thing. And I also do want to empower us because in a moment we can do something as small as take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
Like every moment is a choice. And I really want to empower us to know that
Mm-hmm.
we can align with our rhythms in the most simplest way, and it will make a huge impact. So just to help us to integrate a little bit more, I just want to do um, a meditation to help us to align with what I call essence energy. So it's your energy that you're in when you're like really in your flow. You're in your own rhythms, you maybe have you experience it when we are losing time in our creative acts, or when we're just feeling like we're our most expressive and creative self. It's really who we are at our core. And in this essence energy, we're moving through our world and through our day in our own rhythms. And we're really aware of what those rhythms look like and what they feel like. And so let's just for a moment just close our eyes and feel the rhythm of the breath. And where the rhythms of your breath are existing in this moment. And letting that essence energy arise from within you, that energy that is naturally, whenever you tap into it, it's your flow. It's who you are when you have stepped outside of fear and you're in your creativity, your fullest expression. You're doing the things like taking walks and breathing with your mother and cooking and singing and feeling just yourself and your body, dreaming into waking up in your essence energy and what your morning looks like. Noticing if the rhythms of the way that you move through your morning in your essence are different from how you show up lately. And feeling the essence energy and the quality of it in your body, and letting that quality fill up the whole body. So noticing where it is. Is it in your heart? Is it in your belly? Is it in your arms? Is it in your legs? And letting yourself just be full and resonant. Let that energy spread through the whole body, from the bottoms of the feet to the top of the head. And feel yourself in your own essence energy. And one last thing, to feel and imagine yourself doing your pleasurable and measurable act inside your essence energy. And feeling yourself speaking to your own essence energy and gratitude. You are the gift of love to me, and I will love you as I love you. Spread your magic all around. And just take a breath. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for helping me, helping us all to practice how to find space. Because it is there, as you say, even if you don't completely control your schedule, we make choices about how we pace ourselves and how we're in rhythm or not throughout the day. So as we were doing the last exercise, it made me think about how my normal rhythm might be a 10 because I felt like that's what it had to be, or because I was afraid. You mentioned it's like, what would it be like without fear? Like afraid of business or not getting things done. But you can actually get, or I can get what I need done at a 5. And the return for me is that I feel much better, and I'm actually accomplishing the same thing that I have to, either for my business or for my life, without depleting myself twice as much within the boundaries of things that I don't control. But I think you have to learn, like you're encouraging us to practice, you have to practice doing that.
Yes.
And then experience that it's okay. So the things can get done when you make a choice about your energy in finishing or doing them. And it did take me a long time to learn that. So this was very affirming in terms of something I've been trying to work on, but it does really take practice.
It does. And yeah, I mean, I just want to say that, the flywheel, the momentum of the flywheel of grind culture is it's going. It's not going anywhere. And so for us to create that momentum of the flywheel of care and humanity and our own rhythms, we have to commit to practicing something different over and over and over again. And all of the little things that we did today, they may feel small, but they are building the momentum of care that we want to experience in our everyday life. Yeah.
For ourselves, because we generally apply that level of care to other people.
Exactly.
But not to ourselves.
Exactly.
Thank you for the gift of your wisdom and time today. It was great to be with you again. And wishing you and everyone listening live or on the recording a beautiful rest of the day.
Yes. Thank you all. Enjoy.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.